another edition of Vibing with Via. From today's title, you can see that I'm going to be going ahead and cooking up my famous chicken foot soup. Everybody knows that in Jamaica, it's tradition for persons to have soup on a Saturday. However, I am not really the one person to follow tradition all the time, but of course, sometimes it's good just to do the things that are uniquely Jamaican. So I'm going to be cooking up my chicken foot soup. I want to start off by bigging up Sinclair's Market. That is where I purchase all my meat. Sinclair is located in Crossroads. She always gives me everything that I want. No, I hate having to deal with chicken feet. I don't like the way it looks. It looks a little bit scary. But she does a fantastic job because she actually cleans it up for me, cut off all those nails, present it in a way that it is nice and pretty. And you're going to be seeing it very soon in my bowl. So I'm preparing 1 pound of chicken foot, and that is supposed to serve roughly 2 to 3 persons for the soup. Now I'm also going to be using what I consider to be my favorite cooking gadget. Hold on. Normally when you say that something is your favorite, it means that it supersedes all others. For all my other kitchen gadgets to get upset and become jealous. So I'm just going to say that it's my favorite gadget for today on a day that is so busy. I have so many things to do, and so I have to multitask. And this is where my crock pot comes in super duper handy to take you through the steps of how I prepare my chicken foot soup using the crock pot. So stay tuned. The first thing to preparing any form of dish that involves meat is to wash that meat. So you want to go ahead and add some vinegar, all right, that should be enough, and some water, and pretty much just let that sit there maybe for 2 to 3 minutes. And I actually do a double wash when I am dealing with meat. Outside of just having that vinegar water right there, I will do a double wash. And so the second stage of this process is to wash the meat with lime or lemon. I'm going for the second wash, and of course this is now where I'm going to be adding the lime juice. I like to get everything going. You notice I'm wearing a gloves. I always use a gloves when I am handling especially meat. I just don't like the scent of it. I don't want to touch anything pertaining to it. So I'm going ahead and I am adding all of that lime. All right, rind and all. Just gonna drop it in there, add the water, go in for that second wash. Everybody approaches the cooking of their meals in a different way. Now, here's something that I like to do that I know a lot of persons may find strange. I like to go ahead and I like to add a little bit of seasoning to my meat before. Here I am using Cajun seasoning, and this one, luckily for me, came all the way from New Orleans. All right, I also add a little bit of coriander and cumin powder. Now, of course, I'm Jamaican. I don't use measurements, right? I will add, and by the way, these are all natural seasoning, all coming from the root or the plant, and they're grounded. Adding a little bit of ginger. I will add some Italian seasoning. This comprises of marjoram, which you can find in the Jamaican marketplace. Coronation Market has this. I am adding a little bit of basil and rosemary, some oregano, according to foreign people, but in Jamaica I say oregano, and I don't care how you want to pronounce it, right? And of course I will add a little bit of sage as well to this. This is a little earthy seasoning, You might wonder, why is she doing this? Won't the chicken have a flavor even when it's being prepared? Yes, it will, but I still like to treat this like any other dish that I am looking after. I won't necessarily go in with things like salt and pepper at this stage of the game, because naturally in the chicken itself, in the soup itself, that is going to be there. But I just like to do this, season up the chicken foot, and then go ahead and let that rest for a minute before I start the cooking. Now if you look into my dish here, you will recognize that some of the pieces are actually cut into smaller pieces. You can choose to do that. The truth is I started that and just never had the time, couldn't be bothered. So I'm gonna go ahead and just season this. You can add salt if you like. You can add some pepper. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of cayenne pepper to this, and I'm just gonna let it rest a little bit so that I'm just gonna let it rest a little bit so that naturally, you know, all the spices and everything can just go right into the chicken. Okay, so there you have it. I'm just gonna let that rest, and then I'm gonna be ready for the next step. So I've gone ahead and cut up my carrots and pumpkin and Irish potato into bite-sized pieces, and of course in the pot have it prepared here. We have the chicken foot that's in there right now, and we also have the yam. Now if you notice the yam here has a little brown tinge, that's because oxidation is taking place, but of course that will be fine. We're just going to add some more water to the pot. So after adding the ground provisions, I've gone ahead and I've added my seasoning. So I have lots of fresh scallion. I do have some dried thyme because I didn't have any that was fresh. I forgot to purchase that in the market. I also have pimento, clove, and I also have rosemary, garlic, and ginger added to this. And again, I went in with some sage, a lot of herbs. Now traditional Jamaican chicken soup would probably have corns, but again, if that's not available in the marketplace, what am I supposed to do? Right? We're just gonna make do with what it is that we have. Now before turning this on, there is one additional thing that I must add. Come on, it's not soup if it doesn't have good old dumplings. Now I'm not going to be making any round dumplings. I'm going to be making them as spinners and dropping them in there, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like before I actually turn the pot on. I'm now ready to turn on my crock pot. As you can see, all my ingredients are added. Now I have added additional things since the last clipping, and that would have been some cloves, some pimento, good old scotch bonnet pepper. I also added the spinners and one little round dumpling for whoever is going to be lucky enough to get that. And I've also, did I say I added Himalayan salt? You could go ahead and use sea salt as well. And oh yes, this, I've added the Maggi thick and spicy noodles to it as well. Now a lot of persons may be wondering, why is it that I've gone ahead and just added everything? Because this is supposed to be a one pot soup, not like when you're doing it on the stove top and you need to get the meat going first and then you add the vegetables and then you add the seasoning and all of that. This is just my twist on a Jamaican favorite. So if you look at my crock pot, it is already on, and I am going to go ahead and I am going to set it on soup because there are several options that's there. Now you're seeing that it is flashing for 30, suggesting that this meal may take 30 minutes to cook. What's the beautiful thing about this? Once it is done at the 30 minutes mark, I'll be able to go ahead and test whether or not the soup is to my liking, and then I can take it from there. All right, so this is why I love the crock pot. Look at all the features. The only thing I've not tried here as yet is dessert and yogurt, and that's coming up pretty soon. So once that's there, I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button. But naturally, before that, I gotta cover my crock pot. So take a look at it again before you see the final thing. All the herbs are there, ginger, you name it, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of garlic, every single thing that you could think about. So this is my take on a Jamaican favorite. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to apply the cover. Look, it is that it's in an unlocked position. Here is the locked position. So we're just gonna go ahead, turn that, ensure that the arrow is pointing down on locked, and then the next thing we have to do is to ensure now that our crock pot is set, the vent is set to closed as opposed to open, because we want to cook that. All right, so let's just double check that's there, lid in place, because the lid must be in locked position when you're going to be using this crock pot. All right guys, so let's go. We're gonna hit that start button. and notice what happens. It says heating, and then after it heats itself up, it's going to go ahead and start counting down on the timer. I'll show you the finished product. Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Chicken soup all done. Look at goodness. Look at how thick and nice and pumpkiny, is that a word, that it is. Everything in here, every single thing cooked to perfection. Look at that goodness right there. All of this took place in the crock pot. Right? So you might be wondering what happened to the pepper. I had to pull that out. It didn't burst, but once I open it, here's a piece of it. At the end, I actually split the pepper and just leave a little piece with a part of the vein and some seeds, just to add additional flavor to the pot. Now your soup is all set and ready. It smells good, and of course I cannot wait for my taste testers to dig in. Unfortunately, because I'm not eating chicken at the moment, it's gonna be out of my league for today because I won't be able to taste it. But I'll wait on the reviews from my taste testers to see if they'll give me a thumbs up. Well, anyway, if you like the way this looks, go right ahead and give me a like, a thumbs up, a heart for this wonderful chicken soup.